Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Markets Hunters. I am your host, Hunter Gaylor. Thank you for joining me today. We've got a very exciting show for you today. We're going to have John Lai of PETV back in the studio with us, giving his insight on some things that are really moving in the markets, specifically with, the pet marketplace, which is obviously he's got a tremendous amount of experience on. So we're very excited for that. As we go in, thank you for liking and subscribing. Make sure you follow us on the Market Hunters podcast. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, LinkedIn, and follow us on X.com. This is Twitter. Twitter is the new X, so we're looking forward to that. And so without further ado, we'll be right back after a quick little commercial break.
Lameness issues, joint pain, and osteoarthritis can be difficult to treat and debilitating for an animal's health and well-being. Take control of lameness issues and joint pain. Introducing Spring with OsteoCushion technology. With just one injection, Spring with OsteoCushion technology targets the root cause of lameness issues, joint pain, and osteoarthritis, helping animals do what they do best.
John, it's good to have you back in the program. John Lai is the CEO of PETV. You can follow their stock symbol, PETV. Very exciting. And also, if you want to see what they're doing in the pet care space, you can also go to PETV Cares. And that's a really great organization that they've put together that helps pets. And the link will be in the description in the bio. And we'll also include it in LinkedIn. John, thanks so much for being on the program with me today.
Thank you, Hunter. Glad you invited me to come on and talk about the industry.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Well, obviously, we have some major news in the markets, and we want to get your take on that. But before, I really want to get into kind of some of the massive developments you've had within your company. You are now in over 500 veterinarian clinics across the United States. I have it recorded here that you're in 49 states, so massive coverage across the U.S. domestic marketplace when it comes to your product Spring, which we just saw in the clip before this. Talk to us about that growth, what that means for innovation, and yeah.
So we have 5 studies over the next 100 days that will be presented with abstracts at major conferences. So it's the first studies that are coming out for dogs and cats. So we're starting to see the acceleration of adoption of vet clinics that are using Spring. So that's what excites us. We're seeing this number go up. As that number goes up, we're very comfortable now launching social media engagement to the pet owners so they can see the results that are happening out in the field and start talking to the vets about the product. Because until you have good coverage, it doesn't make sense to push that aspect of the market, because somebody says, oh, the nearest vet clinic is 200 miles away. It doesn't do you any good. So we pretty much have major cities covered. We recently picked up Hawaii and Alaska, multiple vets in those areas. So that was very encouraging. And obviously in Hawaii, I think it was both the vets that came on were small animal vets. So it's very exciting for us. And the cat market is coming along really nicely too, as we're ready to unveil the cat study in the first week of October, I believe. So once we have that, the cat product will be sold, but it's going to be under the small animal label. We're not going to differentiate between the dogs and the cats because it's the same particles. So there are vets that are using the Spring product that has a dog label on it right now for cats, and we're seeing really good results from that standpoint.
John, let's talk a little bit about the innovation, right? We've got Novatin. Talk about the education of the consumer a little bit. I know a lot of people have questions because they may not necessarily have strong level of whether it's feline. I know that the cat market, from your perspective, you said this before, is totally untapped. And what's really interesting specifically about that small animal market, the feline, is people don't know that cats can hide their pain very well, according to reports. So talk to us a little bit about the education of the consumer, what that innovation looks like, and why that's so important.
Sure. So one of the things that was discovered through multiple studies and talking to vets that specialize in cats, so more and more clinics are opening up. All they're doing is specializing in cat care. And cats have a unique personality, and I'm sure every cat owner will tell you that. So at the first sign they have a lameness issue, what they tend to do is they're much less active. Their whole personality changes. And generally, pet owners look at it and say, oh, my cat's just getting older. But it's really they're trying to not do things that's going to cause pain. So that's one of the major education focuses within the industry. Um, so we're going to leverage off of that. And there hasn't really been any innovation in the marketplace for cats, dogs, for the OA market. Everybody for the last 15, 20 years has been focused on getting a better NSAID. Now, this is an exciting time for the marketplace because there's been 3 new products that are taking a different mechanism of action than standard NSAIDs and so on. The first one is Zoetis with their monoclonal antibody. What that is a biologic that focuses on the nerve growth factor. They're basically blocking that so the pain doesn't register, and it also helps reduce inflammation. But that essence really doesn't protect the joint. So our product, Spring with OsteoCushion, is a mechanical function. So the particles, through an intra-articular injection into the joint, actually fills in the area where cartilage used to be and mimics cartilage. So that, in essence, actually helps provide protection for the joint and lubrication. So in theory, you can use the two together because there's nothing to indicate that it would be an issue. And then the third company or the product is Synovitin, which is more of it's a radioactive approach. It's injecting, it's also an intra-articular injection. They inject the particles in, and it basically blocks the nerve and inflammation protein particles. So, but that's also lasts about a year. Our product lasts a year. The monoclonals require monthly injections, and from an economic standpoint, the monoclonals are probably for dogs about $160 a month, and you got to have monthly injections for the rest of the life of the animal, most likely. That's Libria, Solentia, which is for cats. It's about $100 a month. Now, that's a user self-pay model. So whoever's using it has to pay out of pocket. For Spring, it's a product that we say it lasts at least a year because in our human studies, we track the particles for a year. But what we're finding in real world applications is lasting beyond a year. And that's ranges depending on the part of the country and what needs to be done, from $600 to $1,000 in a single injection. And that is covered under pet insurance as a medical device. Now, the Synovitin requires specialized equipment, going to a special area because you're using particles that actually are radioactive. It's about $2,400 per one elbow and $3,000 for two, and now lasts a year. I'm not sure if it's covered under pet insurance because it is a new indication. So I feel from cost benefit, potential side effects, and so on, that we have a pretty good product that will fit into the market. And the market is growing substantially, especially in the felines.
Well, that's what I want to talk about, John. I mean, obviously, the Market Hunters program follows this industry very closely. We've been following your company very closely. And obviously, with the rise of the increase of companies like NVIDIA and AI, you actually mentioned ZTS Zoetis. And actually, the CEO was recently on Fox Business or Fox News talking about this. And I'd like to get your reaction to this clip and what she said.
Sure.
Animal health and monoclonal antibodies. Most people think about that as extremely expensive products, that humans use. But we have 3 of them approved in the United States for pets, for osteoarthritis pain in dogs, Librela.
Okay,
cats.
let me stop you there about Librela, because Librela.
So, John, real quick, here you have a very large company that you mentioned talking about 3 other companies that are approved. She's mentioning and talking about osteoarthritis. The Spring product is just proven undeniably well in the equestrian space. We've seen that in the performance. We've seen that in the testimonials. We've seen it increase in the dog market. We've seen incredible testimonials that we've seen on various platforms, whether it's owners or vets sharing it on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And now what we're going to be seeing in the cat marketplace and the feline. John, I'd like to get your market reaction on this as the CEO of a publicly traded company.
So one thing Zoetis is really good at is expanding the total addressable market. They have a great focus on education, educating the vet community as well as the pet family. They go out and expand the potential. So I think she talks about the OA franchise as being over $1 billion. And that's the guidance they have given. So we love the education focus because it helps the industry. It provides better health care for the animals at a lower cost in general. So she also, I did watch the interview. She also talks about use of AI. Now, one of the things I've always said was very difficult was to diagnose osteoarthritis in cats. Well, they have a system called Cat Pain IQ or vet scan images, where the consumer, the pet owner, can film the cat moving or a dog moving. And with that, they're able to submit the video in where their AI will diagnose and say the likelihood this joint has an issue, that joint has an issue, and they will forward it to your vet. That helps the whole industry. It just doesn't help Zoetis, which we're very appreciative of. And then it's just a matter of presenting the product. There's this Libria, which we talked about $160 a month, but it's also dependent on the size of the dog. And that's a self-pay model. And our product is at a fixed price on an annual basis, cheaper. And given that ours is a device versus a biologic, the likelihood of having less side effects or zero side effects is much higher. And the efficacy, I think we're going to show our efficacy is pretty good as more and more of the studies come out in the next 100 days.
So this is a testament in the marketplace, John, as CEO, that when these larger multinational corporations step in, it really creates a rising tide lifts all ships effect in the marketplace, which brings about better product, better informational awareness, and better education for the consumer. Would you agree to that statement?
Yeah, the interesting thing is, and I've been saying this for a while, is the pet owner now is much more informed because of Dr. Google on the internet, basically. So the people are looking at their pets as part of the family unit. So if you look at the demographics, less and less people are getting married, less and less people are having children. So their pets become their children, and they'll spend whatever it takes to improve the quality of life of their animals. And the application or the ownership demographics is north of 50% are Gen Z and millennials. And they tend to spend whatever it takes to have that family member enjoying life. And on a lot of our social media that we've been sending out, and which we will push because we know that's the way to get the attention of the consumers to get to the vets. We have seen many cases where dogs that can barely go up and down the stairs after the injection within a week, they're running up and down the stairs. And we have had situations where the husband and wife are marathon runners, and that poor dog, from not being able to run to running 5 miles a day. So right. We've seen pretty phenomenal results, and we expect this to continue. And we feel social media is a very powerful tool for us, and that's why you're going to see an increase in consumer social media as we move forward, since we have the map in the United States hitting a lot of the major cities with vet clinics, and we expect this to really accelerate after the clinical data comes out and being presented at these conferences.
Well, John, as always, it's a pleasure to get your insight into the industry. It's very exciting to see what happens. And this, by the way, is all before, your panel of experts on the human aspect of this for people that are suffering from osteoarthritis and some of these other joint or sports related injuries for recovery. So we're very much looking forward to that. So, John, as always, I'll give you the final 30 seconds closing. Anything we should be expecting outside of these studies and reports coming out? Anything on the horizon you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I think it's just a very exciting time. These studies have been 2-3 years in the making, and now it's coming. And to have that data for the first time is meaningful for our business development team, as well as MWI's territorial managers, to push to the small animal side. Keep in mind, 90% of our sales has been in the equine space because we have had so much adoption within that space. So for the first time, we're starting to see the pickups of the small animal clinics. And there's 83 million dogs in the United States versus 10 million horses and 60 million cats. So the market is significantly larger for us. And as more and more social media cases go out from prominent people that have used our product, celebrities and so on, I think it's really going to help us from an adoption standpoint.
Well, we look forward to all of that, John. Once again, thank you for joining the Markets Hunter program. We look forward to keep the dialogue and conversation going.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was John Lives, the CEO of PETV. It's always a pleasure to have him in the studio. Obviously, an exciting time in the marketplace. We're seeing very large companies now using AI for identification of pain management. You saw this. And then the industrial education, the industry education that's going on is obviously, we like to feel that we're a part of that here at the Market Hunters program. We're not just here to talk about, the performance of the stock or the investments. We're actually looking at how the company's growing and the market share that they're taking. And this is definitely an exciting story. So we thank everyone for joining. We always appreciate John's time joining us as well, given his background on Wall Street and running publicly traded companies. So for more information, you can go to petvivo.com. You can also follow their symbols, PETV. All of the information is in the lower thirds as well. So once again, as always, thank you for joining. This has been a wonderful edition of the Market Hunters program. We look forward to bringing you more content just like this. And if you've liked this, make sure you like, share, and subscribe across all the platforms. We actually thoroughly enjoy your feedback. We like receiving questions from you. We receive a lot of them. Follow us on x.com, formerly known as Twitter. And we're going to keep the dialogue going both online and offline. And by the way, tag your pets, by the way. If you have pets and if you've used the Spring product, tag those, tag PetVivo, tag PetVivo Cares. And if you're really interested in getting involved on the humane aspect of it, please go to Pet Cares. All their information is going to be in the description below. And we always thank you. It's always a pleasure for you joining us here on the Markets Hunter program. And without further ado, make it a great week. And remember, this is the one place where you can get all the information you need on the companies we like and we think you like as well. Thanks for tuning in to Market Hunters.
Coming to you live with the insight you need from the financials and political capitals of the world to the heart of innovation. This is Opportunities to Consider with your host, author, speaker, and corporate strategist, Hunter Gaylor.